Christian Horner just unleashed a bombshell about their upcoming Ford engine collaboration. He boldly declared that the engine is smashing all the targets. Could this be the game changer to keep Max Verstappen from leaving? Or was he never going to leave anyway? Red Bull's big boss, Christian Horner, recently gave an update on how their F1 team's engine project is going. He's saying that they're right on track with their goals. In 2026, F1 is changing up its engine rules. They're ditching the MGU-H part and putting more focus on the MGU-K, which deals with electric power. Plus, they're going for eco-friendly fuels. Red Bull and their sister team, RB, are going to use engines made by their own place, the Red Bull Powertrains spot in Milton Keynes. They're teaming up with Ford to make these next-gen engines happen. Despite rumors and suggestions that Red Bull might be lagging behind other engine makers, Christian Horner, the big shot at Red Bull, wants to ease those worries. He said to motorsport.com, "We're hitting the goals we set for ourselves. Figuring out how those goals match up with our rivals is tough, but we're putting in a ton of effort behind the scenes. We're racing against the clock to get everything ready for 2026. Horner kept going, saying, "Building this new engine is a big challenge for us since we're just starting out as engine makers, but our team is stepping up to the plate. Our facilities are all set up for testing and developing, and we can make the engines too." He added, "But 2 years in the engine game isn't much time. We're learning fast though. We're right where we expected to be on this learning journey." There's been talk that Red Bull's engine project hiccups might make Max Verstappen rethink sticking with the team, but the three-time champ isn't sweating it just yet. Verstappen brushed off those worries, saying, "If I worried about every what-if, I'd be stressing about being alive tomorrow, so I'm not sweating it too much." He's keeping tabs on things with Christian and the team, and they're all hustling hard. Plus, it's not even 2026 yet. He acknowledged it's a big challenge, especially with the big dogs in the engine game already set up. But they've got a stellar team on it, and they're pumped. Verstappen figures only time will tell how it all shakes out. Even though Red Bull is new to making engines, they're doing pretty well and hitting their goals. Max Verstappen isn't worried about the engine until it's closer to 2026. But hey, no surprise there, right? They're not gonna come out and say, "Oops, it's tougher than we thought." What else would they say? "My bad, folks. It's a bit trickier than expected." But who knows? Maybe if they compare the new engine to the current one, that's a good sign. Red Bull's already dominating, so if they nail this engine, nobody's beating them. Toto Wolff from Mercedes was eyeing Verstappen to join before the rules change, especially since he lost Hamilton to Ferrari. He probably figured if Red Bull's struggling, he could snatch up Verstappen. Toto's only shot at signing Max is if Red Bull's engine isn't up to snuff, and Max knows it, while Mercedes can prove their 2026 engine will be killer. I'm not really into the 2026 rules. They're toning down the electric power above certain speeds. But imagine if they went back to old-school engines like a 4-liter V10 with a big power boost system. That'd be way more exciting. I doubt the sport would be better if all the big manufacturers left, but to each their own. They're talking about bringing back the old-school engines like Ferrari wanted in 2018. If they're ditching DRS, a power boost system could do the trick. 500 HP sounds like it'll really shake things up on the track. The new engines might be a mess at first. They're super complex, so it's a big task to get them right. And that's plenty of time for Red Bull's top minds to figure it out. The only engine that sounds like it might struggle is Audi's, since they're new to the game. Starting fresh after other teams have been at it for years? Tough break. Actually, the new engines are supposed to be simpler than the current ones, with more standard parts and no MGU-H. They didn't just grab random folks from the energy drink factory to build the engine. They've got some of the best minds on the job. Starting from scratch might be tough, but I doubt they hired the worst people they could find. Even though it's unsure if Verstappen leaves due to the power struggle, it's almost certain that Perez will leave. But who will replace him? According to BBC F1 commentator Harry Benjamin, Max Verstappen has a lot of sway at Red Bull. Benjamin suggests that Verstappen wouldn't want someone like Carlos Sainz joining the team, as he's pretty influential there. Verstappen's current teammate Sergio Perez has been doing great in the 2024 F1 season. They've even had a bunch of 1-2 finishes together. But Red Bull hasn't made up their minds about who'll be driving for them in 2025 yet, so Perez has to keep pushing hard to secure his spot. And Perez isn't just up against his own teammate. There's also Sainz, who used to be part of Red Bull's driver program. Sainz is killing it at Ferrari this season, with a big win in Australia and a couple of podium finishes. With Lewis Hamilton heading to Ferrari soon, Sainz needs to find a new team in F1. But Benjamin doesn't think Verstappen would be cool with either Sainz or Fernando Alonso, who's also been linked to Red Bull, joining the team. He thinks Verstappen would see them as potential troublemakers and wouldn't want them as his teammate in 2025. Harry Benjamin, a voice in BBC F1, talks about the thrill of seeing two drivers duking it out on the track, like Senna and Prost, or more recently, Rosberg and Hamilton. It's the kind of rivalry that gets fans on the edge of their seats and pushes everyone to their limits. And with more races happening each season, we need that excitement to keep folks tuning in week after week. But here's the thing, if you bring in drivers like Alonso or Sainz to race alongside Verstappen, it could cause some drama. Verstappen's got a tight grip on Red Bull, and everything there revolves around him. He's the star, and he's got a lot of sway, especially with his dad, Jos Verstappen, in the mix. Alonso and Sainz are top-notch drivers. They wouldn't be content playing second fiddle like Perez has been doing. They've got big personalities and loads of talent. Plus, Sainz and Verstappen have history. Back when they were teammates at Toro Rosso, there were sparks flying even over small stuff. Imagine what it'd be like if they were fighting for a race win. I reckon Verstappen wouldn't want another big-shot driver taking up that second seat. He's got his eyes on his fourth championship in F1 2024, trying to match Vettel's winning streak with Red Bull back in the day. Looks like Max Verstappen's got the British pundits feeling a bit down. They used to see him as this amazing once-in-a-lifetime racer, but now they're not so sure. When Max wanted Nico Hülkenberg as his teammate, some folks thought he was scared of Sergio Perez. But Red Bull went with Perez instead. Before this season, lots of people thought Perez would beat Max, but Max has been proving himself since he was just 17, with only 1 year of experience in single-seater racing. Even against older guys like Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo, Max showed he had the speed and talent to keep up. And as he's gotten more experience, he's only gotten better. The team might listen to Max's thoughts, but they make their own decisions in the end. Some people seem to think that the second driver at Red Bull isn't just picked that way from the start. Instead, they end up being seen as the second best when they're paired with a stronger teammate. For the people who think that Red Bull is all about Max, that's not quite true. Sure, Max is a big part of the team, but Red Bull's been building up their racing program for 15 years, investing billions to get two cars on the track. They pick drivers based on who's the best fit for the team at the time, and there's this idea that Max and his dad Jos have a ton of power at Red Bull, but that's a stretch. Jos has actually been told off before for meddling in team stuff, and as for Max, his position on the team is based on how well he performs on the track. If he's not cutting it, he's out. Whether guys like Carlos Sainz could challenge Max at Red Bull. Some think Sainz deserves a shot in a car capable of winning championships like Red Bull's. It'd be interesting to see how he stacks up against a champ. Then there's this whole thing about Max always having it easy. But let's think about it. If the team is focusing on Max, it's probably because he's proven he's got the skills to lead. And remember, not every champ has had to beat a top teammate to win titles. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below.